They're really excited on day one of the fair.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's good, Tony. Thank you. It will be fun to talk to him.
What was in his coffee cup?
I don't know. Maybe they sent him a miracle treat,
I don't know,
too.
but that was great because that gives everybody at home an idea of what a live reporter goes through. All these people are watching you and looking at you, and they want to get as close as possible, and then when you want to put the camera on, they're like, whoa, no.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Either you want to be on TV or you don't. You can't do this both ways.
right.
Anyway.
Exactly.
And decide now. Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about you. I actually, neither one of us were here when you filled in months and months ago. So tell us about yourself.
Well, I'm a certified etiquette consultant, which just means, it's a fancy explanation is, I went to etiquette school. I went to the Protocol School of Washington back in 2005 and started teaching etiquette courses back then. So that's what I busy myself doing.
Kids and adults now?
Kids and adults.
Okay.
Who needs it more?
Pretty much equal, I think, for the most part.
Do you think that it is a kind of like a dying thing in terms of what children get in their homes, in their schools, in their everyday environment?
Oh, absolutely. I had, in fact, asked a group of teenagers who knows what etiquette is, and someone raised their hand and said, is that a plastic fork and plate?
Get out of here.
And so a lot of this generation is very clueless about...
That's lack of education, too, I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
But they're very clueless about what the term etiquette, means.
that's unfortunate.
So what got you interested? I mean, what you're around kids and you're thinking, these people are heathens, I got to teach them something? Or
My first year out of college. Well, I was a little rough around the edges myself, but my first year out of college, I was a teacher and I taught English.
Okay.
And I had kids walk in the classroom and they would spit in the garbage or into a piece of tissue and leave it sit on their desk open. And I thought, why don't you guys just ask to use the restroom? And they said, well, the tissue's right here, or the trash can is right here. And then that let me know that it's not that they didn't want to do better, they just didn't know better. And so that's when I decided to do something about it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Love that.
So what is the big personal news that you've had since you were last on our show?
Well, since I was last here, 2 weeks after the fact, I got engaged.
Yay!
Yeah.
See the ring? I know exactly. Move over, Blizzards. Let's show the bling.
That's called putting a ring on it for real.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, it's because your boyfriend, do you want to give his first name?
His name is Tim.
All right, so Tim sees you on the air.
He does.
And you didn't have a ring on, and it upset him.
I got a couple of phone calls afterwards.
Saying, are you single? And Tim stepped it up.
And he stepped it up about 2 weeks later.
Okay, let me take this ring off.
So, I know exactly. Get the ring on.
Right.
If the guys gave you some calls or just wanted to find out, you had some interest after our show, and Tim
I shared
said,
that.
And sometimes
you shared that.
I shared that with him. I said, I got some unusual phone calls today. I just wanted to share it with you. I think we should share things.
What etiquette book did that come out of?
Mine.
The Get On It book.
Way to make him move.
That's excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very neat.
Thank you very much.
Lucky man.
Awesome.
All right, we'll learn lots about her and get, again, some tips and get yelled at multiple times over the next hour. So let's head to the bubbler today. And topping the bubbler today, luckily, we were waiting forever for Tuesday to be over and done with because we were so sick of those recall election ads. Well, we don't have to watch the ads anymore, but we're still talking about it, aren't we? The round of elections, of course, ending on Tuesday. And one of the hotly contested and most covered races in the whole state was 8th District between Sandy Pash and Alberta Darling. Alberta Darling won. No one knows where Sandy Pash is. Dun, dun, dun. That's kind of the question.
Where has she gone?
That's been a lot of talk, actually, since, again, Tuesday night. She briefly did show up at, she was at, obviously, her party.
Right.
And as the results rolled in, she came everybody out briefly, said, enjoy the party, and we, had the statement relatively short. And apparently, according to Darling, she did contact Darling, congratulate her on the win after the numbers came in case you aren't, I don't know where you've been, but in case you didn't know, it was a very
getting the
late
dust
night.
out from underneath the rock.
Yeah, 12:30 or so Tuesday night, so it was a very late night. But afterwards, apparently, nobody's seen her. So actually, we have footage of our own Henry Rossoff going to try to find her at her campaign headquarters yesterday. No luck there. Went to her house in Whitefish Bay. Her daughter says she's on vacation.
Yeah.
I don't know. What you think? Oh, all right. We have some sound. Let's hear.
Do you know if she'll be home later?
No, we're going on vacation. She already left.
That's kind of odd.
Really? So I don't know what
You just think she would come out at least and say something to the people that work so hard. This campaign was huge. I saw her volunteers out everywhere, in our area, out in Germantown and stuff, and it's like you just wish that she would come forward at least a little bit and say, hey, thanks again. I'm going to concede publicly. It's nice that she called Alberta.
Right.
I mean, that was good.
And they did release a statement. She wouldn't do any interviews Wednesday. I mean, it was told all that kind of thing. But
Well,
you know what? Like a sore loser, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But is there a protocol, do we know, is there a protocol for such a thing?
Does there need to be a protocol, or is that part of etiquette? You know, I mean, is that part of just coming out and saying thank you for all the hard work you did, which I know she did earlier before the actual.
I mean, obviously, most people do it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an issue.
Right. We wouldn't have it on TV. But I'm wondering, what is the emotional toll of going through a campaign like this? I mean, if she's really had to duck out and leave and get on vacation and get her head straight, you know, how hard this must be for them to go through this.
Right.
You know? So who knows?
Who knows? So we'll see. But obviously, so far, nothing from her specifically. But everyone's talking about, our governor's even talking about it, right?
He's
saying,
talking
let's move
about
on.
Well, because he's saying this has really divided our state, never realizing that this would become such even a federal issue. I mean, the nation is talking about Wisconsin when it comes to this. But he sat down with our Mike Glsoe yesterday to talk about what do we do next.
Okay.
Thanks, Tony. Too funny. Well, that takes a lot to be able to be like that.
Yeah.
Miles is extra special, too. All right, let's talk about this petition. Bert and Ernie, they want them to get married.
Who wants them to get married?
They.
Well, the petition was started by Lair Scott. She is big in the gay and lesbian community and thinks that it's just time to have them educate kids and make them realize that, you know, if that is their inclination, that suicide is not the answer, and that Bert and Ernie, because, you know, sometimes these kids get bullied.
Of course,
and then they
yes.
feel like that's their only hope. And so that somehow Bert and Ernie will help that by just showing them in a committed relationship.
How is she doing with that?
I don't know how many people actually have signed the petition. Oh, well, it says over 900 people think so in the country.
900?
Not so much.
Yeah.
I looked at Bert and Ernie as asexual. I didn't really even think they had a sexuality.
I know.
Why does everything have to have a sexuality?
Right.
Why turn
That's
it
a good
into
question.
an issue? It
Yeah,
doesn't have to be.
Right. It doesn't have to be. And children's
I
television.
just pictured Snuffleupagus. I'm trying to go through
Wedding?
Big Bird. Going through.
And maybe they don't like each other. Maybe they would be incompatible. I mean, do they always out having watched
Bert gets
and
really frustrated at Ernie.
He does.
He does.
They're like the odd couple.
But I think the bigger question is, though, is do you want, I guess, that information coming to your children, or any information coming to your children that you are not? I mean, does that force parents to
It
step
makes you
up
talk,
and
I
talk
think,
about
too
issues?
young. I think
Absolutely.
it's too young. You know, I mean, my son's really young, and there have been times or things on shows that I watch that I just decide to turn off because I am afraid that he'll pick up on it and he'll want education about it, and I'm like, I'm not going to have this conversation until he's 10.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I don't want it. Children's Television Workshop, by the way, has denied that this is the case, that they are gay or anything like that. So they're not getting
That's
involved.
been something people have been saying for years, right?
Oh, right. Everybody, you want to.
What was it?
But saying too young, I don't know about the Bert and Ernie, not going there, but saying that they're too young implies that there's something wrong with discussing a man.
No, I know that. No, I'm talking about even like mommy and daddy stuff. I don't want to
Well,
talk
yeah,
about.
but again, we've talked to several people who don't want to have that conversation until their daughter's pregnant, and so therefore, you know what I mean? Too late. Miss the boat on that one, Mom. But
You know, thanks for that, Nicole, because that certainly is not why I asked the question. That's the implication of what is wrong. But just an introduction of a conversation into your home that you as a parent might not be ready to have yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm asking.
And you might never be ready, unfortunately.
Well, that's
But you should be. I know what you're
should be.
saying,
Yeah,
and I
I'm
will
saying,
have the
yeah, that
discussion.
we teach so much stuff, and teaching actually, I don't care who it is, people that actually show love and good things.
Right.
Well, you know
Imagine
what?
that.
No matter what
Right.
his
Yeah.
sex is.
You're right.
Positive emotions.
Right. What a
imagine that.
concept.
Yeah.
I'm all for asexual, though. I'm with you. Bert and Ernie.
All right. Well, speaking of concepts, is this real or not? PMS. I'm sure men would say it is. I don't know. We're talking premenstrual syndrome.
They
with
won't after
Dr.
we kill
Van
'em.
Fossen. City, what is happening, and just to make sure that we don't all make the unfortunate mistake of saying this is part of the black culture, of the black community. Black people do this or do that. Let's not do any of those general across-the-board statements, and this is kind of what they're coming out to say today, which I think is good.
Yeah,
I
it
think
is.
it's very good. Yeah,
It
we
is
need
really good.
And in the peer pressure thing, and we talk about how do you get, good. Why don't these people standing up doing great,
Right.
things that our city can be proud of, call out those other people. You are embarrassing. You are giving
absolutely.
all
Yeah,
of us
you're hurting
teenagers,
us all.
whatever color, a bad name.
Well, and you know what? Because it puts things into effect, actions,
Yeah.
laws, behaviors into effect that we all suffer from. we
Right.
all suffer
Yeah.
from. And hardworking people of all ethnic groups don't want this to happen. I mean, it's absurd to believe that anybody would condone, any thinking person would condone this kind of behavior, and it's simply not true.
You have an interesting perspective because you work with high schoolers.
I do.
Right?
I believe that you should hold the parents responsible. What is it going to affect the kid if they get a $60 citation? What do they care? It'll just stop them from getting their driver's license when they turn 16. Whoop-de-doo, big deal. It'll stop them from getting it when they're 18, so they drive illegally.
Precisely.
So why not hold
Right. Yeah.
the parents responsible? I think that if they were held to higher standards, we'd be dealing with less. Because who wants to take off work and go to court? Who
Right.
wants to have to pay a $120 citation? It's really not
If the
affecting
parents
you
got
if you
the
have a
citation.
child. If you have a child that's not, if you're not involved with your child in the first place, it doesn't affect you. What do you care?
Right.
Well, you were a teacher before. I mean,
Sure.
you teach now, but you know, in the schools, what was your dealings with parents? Do you think that the parents are doing a good job, or like if you had to give a percentage of the people that were really involved?
Let me say it like this. Parent-teacher conferences are not the busiest time of year.
That's sad.
If you're introducing pre-college programs, you know, sometimes it's a struggle to get people in the door to actually learn about the opportunities that pre-college programs have to offer, taking you on college tours, giving you, or even across the country tours, also showing how important it is to behave yourself in class, to put your best foot forward academically. It's bananas how that midway got out of hand, but
Yes.
when there's an ACT preparatory course going on, you don't see
No one's there.
5% of those individuals in the ACT prep course. And it's a little disheartening. So I do absolutely feel that parents need to be held more accountable for these children. There's no way I
Are
have an
the
11
parents young? Are they just not educated?
I think that the parents are young. I do think that a lot of times they are uneducated. I mean, they haven't, and when I say uneducated, I mean they haven't obtained their GED or their high school diploma yet. And I think that students sometimes look at the parents as successful because they have things. We have a big TV, we have a car,
Yeah.
and
Those
things
aren't-
are
yeah.
associated with success instead of who you are from the inside being associated with
Right,
success.
your goodness. And
Right.
saying, you know, we had Sheriff Clark on, and he was saying being able to say please and thank you, the
Right.
social
Huge.
contract of excuse me when you bump into somebody. And those are things kids aren't being taught anymore.
Right.
But you talk about how to navigate a world, those are the magic words. It works. Common courtesy, self-respect, and respect for other people. It gets you in places and enables
Right.
you to stay places. It's
Right.
sad that it's...
It gets you
they don't get
tickets. Tony made that guy say please. He said the magic
that's
word.
true. It's true.
I know. Tony knows what he's doing out there. When you talk. All right, we know for the viewers here, for you, we are willing to go and read a lot of magazines. We like it. Okay, and real simple, they have modern manners, life lessons articles that I love. And one of the questions is, when is it more appropriate to call someone rather than text or email? You have really bad news. What would you say there? You have some bad news to share with people. What should you do?
If you have bad news to share, absolutely you should make the phone call.
Yeah.
Never deliver bad news via text message. You don't know if someone is texting and driving. It may be devastating to them. You could cause
true.
further disaster. So always, always, always make an in-person phone call.
What about
about
good
email?
news? Oh, I was going to say good news. What about the other way?
Same thing. If it's really good news and you're really excited to share it, you want to share that enthusiasm from person to person. So again, make the phone call to share it.
'Cause
now,
isn't-
if it's someone that's not very significant to you that you're sharing it with and you want to share it via email,
Like if you're going to do a group mail
right, then
that just says, you know, I got a promotion or something like that.
Is it different with email, or is it the same rules, texting, email?
Oh, much different. Texting is just
Really?
so informal that I wouldn't do anything formally via text
okay.
message. Too easy for people to say, I didn't get that, my phone was off, I was in a bad signal area.
Oh.
Stick to email if you can. Texting
Cut
is
down
so
the
informal.
excuses.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Because I think a lot of it comes down to tone. And I don't think you ever get a true person's tone in an email.
Right.
You know,
Right.
that's the thing that always is.
Things get misconstrued so often.
I must
Okay.
say, though, as a late-coming texter, I really kind of like it.
You do?
I do, I must
Because you don't want to
admit.
talk to people. That's
Gotcha.
why.
And this is
Life is short.
And email, so I was going to ask about email, good or bad news too, spreading it that way, because there are friends now who I very rarely talk on the phone to. And quite frankly, I don't want to change that.
Yeah.
You know, there's some people
Yeah.
you get on the phone and you know it's
Tick-tock,
going to be an
tick-tock.
hour. I don't have an hour.
Right.
I have
Right.
an email. We'll you know, and everybody's got their phones, so we'll have a conversation on our own terms. So is that just the way?
And I think that
Are we
and I think-
declining or are
Yeah.
as a
I think person to person, most definitely, we are declining.
Yeah.
I think face-to-face contact is important because you establish your relationships that way, and you should continue to nurture your relationships that way.
we do some of them.
the ones worth nurturing.
The ones we want to. What if it's your mom? Because this was talking about, does your mother, I mean, a lot of mothers now are getting into texting. I couldn't believe how many people are on Facebook, you know, to do that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. For moms, is it still important for them to hear your voice?
Absolutely. Most definitely. They still want to.
Wait a minute. So what are you talking about? Your mom lives out of state and you just text her, go, hey, Merry Christmas. I mean, that's not okay.
Merry Christmas.
I'm just saying, but if it's going to be,
Merry
Mom, I'm going to be
Christmas.
home late, I mean, that's a use,
That's
right?
acceptable
Okay.
to text.
Okay,
Let's
that's
clarify
so
the type.
quick things
Right.
that you
I don't
need
need
to
to
get
call,
out.
because again, what if you got one of those moms? It's going to be a 20-minute conversation. I don't have time for this mom. So I have text.
And my mother's just coming into texting too, but she just got an Android phone. Before she got the Android, though, I'd send her a message, hey, do you think you can bring me lunch today? And she'd get one of those preset responses in her phone, and she'd text back, thank you. Thank you? Does that mean you're going to bring me lunch or not? You know, thank you. You can't tell me there wasn't a better out of the 10 to respond, thank you.
That means at least I received your text question.
Well, that's what she said. And when she showed up, I'm like, how was I supposed to know whether or not I was going to eat? And she goes, well, I responded, which meant I got it. And I'm like, that makes sense in your mind.
See, I had that.
Doesn't make sense in mine.
So I know
So are we just becoming more rude, I mean, in general, because of technology, would you say?
I think that we're not purposefully rude.
Okay.
But I think that we are.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you are just so appropriate. That answer is yes.
Yes.
Oh, we're not purposely rude, but we
Yeah.
are completely out of order.
And you know, I agree with Nicole. There are some friends that are so long-winded. I have one friend you have to say at least 5 or 6 times, well, I have to go now.
Yeah, why can't they get
You
the
know?
tone in your voice?
Yeah.
When you are talking on the phone, you're like, okay, that sounds great, which is, I've got to go.
Yeah, or I've got to get in here and cook dinner now, or, oh yeah, she just broke her arm in the background. I've got to go handle that.
They can't hear the screaming that's happening.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What?
Besides, do you have some?
Yeah, you know what? But that could take me forever. So you go on.
All right. I was just going to say, though, besides the phones and stuff, is there anything else that you think that is really the downfall of society?
Well, you know what? Cell phone etiquette for kids. I did want to touch on that a little bit because
Okay.
kids nowadays are glued. They don't watch where they're going when they're walking down the
They didn't watch
sidewalk
where
because
they were
they're
going before.
constantly. Now they're constantly in the phone sending text messages. They're on the email all the time. And I think it's important to establish some cell phone guidelines with children and with some adults too. There's a 10-foot rule. If you are having a conversation on your cell phone, you should be at least 10 feet away
That's good.
From
from
anybody
the
else?
next person.
And not
And that happens
shouting.
in stores.
And not shouting. For children, you need to always answer. The person that's paying your phone bill, always take their phone call. You know, they think they have the right to look at the caller ID and determine whether or not they take the call. They don't have the right to do that.
Love that.
You don't call screen. You answer every call.
Right.
But particularly for the person who's
Paying your bill.
paying your phone bill, you should answer the phone. And then establish some phone-free zones. Dinner tables, phone-free
Dinner
zones.
tables.
Church, don't pull out that cell phone.
No.
You know, establish some phone-free zones
Yeah.
in your home, household, society, all together.
I'm going to kiss your face.
That is so good. Yeah. Thank you.
So
That's great.
good.
All right, we're going to check back.